There are 3 easy steps in creating your resume link. Let me show you how.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com using any browser and click Register Now. Fill out all the information needed. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and it's easy to recall by potential employers. For example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz.jobs180.com. Step 2. Create and design. When creating your resume, make sure to complete your personal information and upload your profile picture. One of the highlights of the resume link is the portfolio section. In the portfolio section, you can show off your skills by uploading samples of your work like documents, pictures, videos, and your social media links.
Your resume link also features different themes and you can upload a cover photo. This is a combination of a cover letter and a social network cover photo. Here is an example. You can also download a copy of your resume link and print it. Step 3. Apply for a job. There are many ways to apply with your resume link.
First is browsing the job recommendations in your Jobs 180 dashboard.
If you're qualified, click Submit Resume Link. So what are you waiting for? Dress up your next generation resume, stand out brightly among the competitive job seekers in the market, and win the heart of your future employers using Resume Link.
The clinical trial market as we know it is about to change. We're revolutionizing the current state aligned to disparate, slow, and often manual processes. Optum's vision is to transform the drug development process to one that is centered and grounded in real-world patient behavior and physician practice. Optum's ability to access this unique network and fold in the strongest data and analytics expertise will enable us to jointly bring life-saving drugs to the patients who need it most. Join us in this partnership to bring our shared vision for real-time, real-world healthcare research for real patients.
Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to Marketing Me. We are live today at Bicol University, and today we will be joined by speakers from Probe and Ernst and Young Philippines. So, before we start, we'd like to invite everybody for the short prayer followed by the national anthem and the school hymn.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below.
mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
This is the school we wish to sing, of a school to honor and revere, a temple built by man of firmness, a mold for you to walk with pride, for He will always be united, although we tread on distant lands. We all shall cherish what you've taught us, that you wholeheartedly gave forth. Bicol University, burning torch of wisdom, fount of courage, hope, and love, seed of truth and light. Bicol University, burning torch of wisdom, fount of courage, hope, and love, seed of truth and light.
Thank you for that. So, we would like to acknowledge the following people. Without them, this event would not be possible. So, to the Bicol University SUC President for Dr. Anulfo Mascarinhas, Attorney Joseph L. Bertolata, PhD, Bicol University VP for Administration and Finance, Dr. Amelia A. De Rosa, Bicol University VP for Academic Affairs, Dr. Babyboy Benjamin D. Nebres III, Dean for the Office of Student Affairs and Services, Dr. Linda G. Marceliana, RGC, Director for Bicol University Student Welfare Services Division, Ms. Rosario Frick, RGC, Bicol University State Career Placement and Services Coordinator. So we thank you to their efforts para ma-push yung event natin for this morning. So there you go. So thank you to this wonderful people, officers from Bicol University. So I'm Shari. I'm from jobs180.com from Academic Linkages, and we hope that you guys are excited to learn new things. So we see the people here who are viewing with us. Please tag your friends. If you're from Bicol U, tag nyo na yung mga classmates nyo, yung mga kaibigan nyo, where we are starting in a couple of minutes. Ayan. All right. So we'd like to know where you're from. So please comment your name and course dun sa ating comment section. So if you have questions, we will answer them after each talk of the speaker. So don't forget na i-share din tong video na to. Itag nyo yung mga friends nyo. Excuse me. All right. So here is our schedule for this morning. So we will be discussing online applications by jobs180.com, virtual interviews by Probe CX, and expectations in the new normal to be discussed by Ernst& Young Global Delivery Services Philippines. So shout out to everyone who is here. Thank you for being on time. So again, we'd like to remind you that there is an evaluation at the end of this seminar. So please don't forget to accomplish that. All right, I forgot this slide. Okay, so please read this with me. If you're from Bicol, you please read this with me. Vision, a world-class university producing leaders and change agents for social transformation and development. Mission, the Bicol University shall give professional and technical training and provide advanced and specialized instruction in literature, philosophy, the sciences, and the arts, besides providing for the promotion of scientific and technological researches. Signed by Dr. Arnulfo M. Mascareñas, PhD, SUC President 4. Thank you for the tip for reminding me. Ayan. So let's go to our first speaker. Our first speaker discussing online applications is Sir Kim Chua. He is the managing director for jobs180.com. He has 20 years of experience in sales, marketing, business development, customer service, operations, business process, and human resources. He is a trusted resource speaker and has done over 1,000 career development seminars in more than 400 plus colleges and universities nationwide. Yeah. So to our audience, if you have questions for Sir Kim, please leave it on the comment section so we can address it after his talk. Okay, huwag kayong maghiyang maglagay ng questions. Okay? So, Sir Kim, if you're ready, the floor is yours. Please take it away.
Everyone, allow me to share to you how to make a job-winning resume. Yan. A lot of you are now looking for a job and exploring for the next chapter in your life. I hope that this session will be able to help you. No, not only you, but the people that you know that needs help in terms of how to make a job-winning resume. Yan. So yan na tinatawag nating resume link. A lot of platforms right now, mga online platforms are being offered left and right. But for you to know paano to magiging job-winning tool or job-winning resume to, meron akong checklist. So go with me, no, with all these checklists. Your checklist should include the following. Number 1, kailangan mag-stand out ka. When you look for a job, you have to be able to stand out. Because if you're not going to be able to stand out, then I think you'll just be part of the crowd. You'll be one of the next applicant na wala lang, na hindi mapapansin. Another thing that should be in your checklist is that you should only have one file. Hindi dapat maraming files na iba-iba sinesend sa mga companies. Mas maganda, isang file lang para pag sinend mo, lahat ng details mo nandoon na. Another thing in your checklist is that it should make the process more efficient. Ibig sabihin, mas mabilis mag-submit, mas mabilis makita ng HR, at mas mabilis kayo makontak for possible next steps na or possible job offer na. Now, another thing in my checklist is that dapat tipid ito, wala itong gastos. The tool that I will show you today, wala itong gastos. Libre po ito. At higit sa lahat, itong pinaka-importante sa lahat, this should be in your checklist. The tool should be secured. Okay, more than anything, importante talaga ang data. Pero ang data ninyo, dapat yung protectionan. And using this tool, this is the most secured resume kung tawagin. Bakit siya tinawag na most secured resume? Let me go through the next slides na. Okay? Ito ang tinatawag na resume link. Okay? A personalized URL for anyone can open online anytime. I will use an example para makarelate kayo. If you are John Santos, ang link mo or resume link mo pwede maging johnsantos.jobs180.com. Ganun lang kasimple. At yan na po ang resume link nyo. So how do you make one? Go with me through the 3 simple steps. First step is you have to register. Absolutely wala tong bayad. Libre po ito. How do you register? You go to the website of jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com at dun ka mag-register on the upper right side of your screen. Now, as you do that, you have to put the basic information. Okay? So, alam nyo na ano mga information yan. Hindi ko na isa-isahin. Babawasan nyo naman at alam nyo naman ano dapat ilagay. Now, as you create your account, you have to use a valid email. Okay? Now, before we go to the email, paalala ko lang, sa mga nag-isip sa inyo, paano kung hindi ako si John Santos, ano gagawin kong resume link? O yan, baka nag-isip kayo eh. So, if ever lang, meron kang kapangalan. Okay, just so happen na may ibang John Santos na nauna sa inyo, ano mangyayari? Magkakaroon doon na red na box, sasabihin niya, this name has already been taken. Huwag kayong malungkot. Pag taken na, okay lang, just be creative. Pwede mo gawin, baliktarin mo. Gawin mo santosjohn.jobs180.com o kaya J Santos o kaya Santos J o kaya JS o kaya SJ. Depende kung ano gusto mo gawin. Basta importante, wala kang kapangalan. Okay, wala kang kapareho. Now, when you do this, huwag kayong OA. Do not create yung mga ganong klaseng over creative na mga resume link because it doesn't look professional. Imagine submitting to a company with your resume link that says eljablo.jobs180.com. Hindi yan mukhang professional. Okay? Now, when you register, please use a valid email. Ito yung emphasis ko lang sa pag-create nyo ng account na dapat gamitin yung email, yung nabubuksan yung email, kagaya ng Gmail, Yahoo, or any email na nabubuksan nyo. Do not create, example lang yung mga email na kagaya ng ganito, patricia@facebook.com na email. Huwag kang gagamit ng joseph@facebook.com na email to register. In short, huwag mong gagamitin yung @facebook.com na email. Because if you use @facebook.com na email, you will no longer be able to receive notification being sent to you by the companies as well as jobs180.com. Importante po na nabubuksan nyo yung email nyo kasi kailangan mo i-verify yung account mo. Okay? It is very important that you verify your account as a proof na ikaw nag-register at pangalawa, para ikaw ay makapag-apply. If you don't do this, if you don't verify, walang mangyayari sa account nyo. Okay? So sayang lang. So you have to verify to finish the first step. Okay? How do you verify? Just open your email, look for the link, click mo yung verify, you're done with the first step. Okay? Tapos na yung first step. Ano yung first step? Register. Wala tong bayad. Let's go to the second step. Ang second step, ang pinaka-logical sa lahat. Kailangan kumpleto ang detalye nyo. So how do you do that? You go back again to your account by going to the website of jobs180.com. This time, hindi mo kailangan mag-register. Ang gagawin mo, mag-login. Pag login mo, lagay mo dito yung email nyo or resume link nyo, kayo lang may alam yan, at lalo na yung password nyo na kayo lang talaga may alam yan. So when you do that, you now go inside your account. Pag nasa loob na kayo ng account nyo, ano gagawin nyo? Mabilis na lang ito. Fill in the blanks. Okay? Now, I don't have to go through all the information here because definitely, alam mo naman pag sinabi ditong name, malamang pangalan nyo. Pag nakalagay dito address, malamang address nyo. Diba? So you put all the information ninyo dito. Okay? Lagay nyo. Then, what else do you put in here? Importante po, lagay dito lahat ng posibleng paraan na pwede ka makontak ng isang HR. Kagaya ng social media account nyo. Diba? Hindi lang email tsaka phone number. Bakit? Most of the time, ano nangyayari? Okay, let me tell you. Marami sa inyo nilalagay nyo phone number nyo. Pero pag tinatawagan kayo ng HR, hindi nyo sinasagot. Lalo na pag hindi mo kilala. Hala, sino kaya ito? Hindi mo sasagutin. Diba? Kasi takot kayo, baka nagsascam or whoever yung tumatawag. So ano mangyayari sa mga HR? Mag-i-email kami ngayon sa inyo. But you don't open email more often than you open your social media account. So I recommend lahat ng posibleng paraan na pwede ka makontak na isang HR, ilagay mo dito. Kagaya ng mga Facebook nyo or Twitter nyo para mabilis ay makapag-PM. Private message, makapag-invite for the next step. Okay? What else do you put here? You also put here your work options, yung mga work experience nyo. Pagdating po sa work options, you can see on the screen, you have 4 options na pwede nyo pagpilian. Parang switch lang yan. Yes, no switch, on, off switch. So you can choose here, example, looking for OJT, lagay mo yes, if you're looking for OJT right now. And later on, pag hindi na, turn it off. Edi lagay mo na no. Diba? So depende yan kung anong mas trip nyo or anong mas pasok dun sa hinahanap nyo right now. What the system will do is it will try to match you with companies who are also looking for the same profile with what you have. Yan yung kagandahan ng tool natin. Hindi mo kailangan mag-door-to-door para mag-submit ng resume link ninyo. Okay? What else do you put here? You put here your school under education. Even later on, okay, pagka-graduate nyo, you can also put here your schools. Yung mga nag-take pa kayo ng further studies, pwede mo rin ilagay dito. Okay, so walang limit sa space yan. Pagdating mo sa seminars attended, ganun din. Kahit gano'ng karami, pwede nyo ilagay dito. Kahit magkopyahan pa kayo. Just make sure lang alam mo yung seminar na yon. Kaya baka matanong ka sa interview. Pagdating po sa certification, ganun din. Put all the certification programs that you've had, you put it here. Okay? When it comes to the achievement, do not limit your achievement only inside the school. Hindi lahat na nakikinig ngayon ay Dean's Lister. Hindi kayo lahat dito ay honor student. Diba? Ayan, nag-agree marami sa inyo. So, hindi lang po ang achievement nakabase sa academic excellence. Some of you are student leaders. So, if you're active sa school, you also put it here kung ano yung mga pinagkakabalahan nyo. And hindi lang sa loob ng school, even outside the school. If you're active in your barangay, halimbawa, isa kang tanod, ilagay mo dyan. Diba? Yan yung mga achievement ninyo. So, you put it here. Bakit? Because what you're doing now is you're trying to market yourself more effectively to that prospective company. Okay? Now, when it comes to the skills and languages, ito yung common observation namin mga HR. Pagdating sa skills, nilalagay mo lang na skills yung mga umiikot lang sa course nyo. Hindi porkat communication arts ang course mo, com arts lang ang skills na alam mo. Hindi porkat engineering ang course mo, ang alam mo lang na skill ay pang-engineering. Hindi porkat tourism or HRM ang course mo, ang alam mo lang na skill ay pang-tourism at pang-HRM. Maybe some of you are into multimedia, into photography, into videography, into something else, arts, crafts, whatever. Lahat ng yan, skills nyo yan. Remember, what you're doing here is you're marketing yourself more effectively. Kaya kung ako sa inyo, ilagay mo dito lahat ng skills na alam ninyo. Pagdating po sa languages, ganun din. Huwag mong ilimit yan sa dalawang lengguwahe lang. Because I'm sure alam nyo na yung dalawa. Kung dalawa lang talaga alam nyo, din dalawa lang. Ano tong dalawang to? English and Tagalog or Filipino. Okay? Now, if you know other local dialect, Bisaya, Kapampangan, Chabacano, Ilonggo, you can also put it here. If you know foreign languages, German, French, Chinese, Japanese, diba, Korean, pwede mo ilagay dyan. Okay? Walang limit sa space yan. When it comes to the references, sigurado ko yung mga references nyo, kilala nyo. Ang malaking tanong dito kayo ba'y kilala nila? Sana oo, di ba? Kasi madalas pag tumatawag kami sa mga references nyo, hindi kayo maalala. So please tell them, ginawa nyo silang reference para at least they know what to tell about you. Okay? Now at this point, to make your life easier, kung sakali lang nakagawa ka na ng resume nyo in your Word file or maybe in your doc file, depende kung anong file nyo, PDF file, whatever file you have. Kung nakagawa ka na ng resume nyo, simple na lang. Just copy all the information inside dito. Na ilagay mo sa loob ng resume link. Just transfer them here inside the resume link para maging secured yung data nyo. Okay? Kung bakit secured, I'll tell you as we go along. Okay? So yung mga sinabi ko, I think alam nyo na yan. Alam nyo na yan. Okay? Itong mga susunod kong papakita, ito yung mga amazing na portion. Let me start with the portfolio section. Ano yung portfolio section? This is the part where you now upload evidence of your skills. Example, ano ebidensya na graduate na kayo later on? Diploma. Diba? Transcript. Ano pa? Toga, hindi ebidensya yung toga. Okay? Kung ano man meron nyo, di ba? Certificate, diploma, yan, ebidensya yan. Okay? Kung transcript of records is evidence na graduate na kayo. Ano ebidensya na wala kayong criminal record? NBA clearance, police clearance, di ba? Ano ebidensya na pwede ka pumunta sa ibang bansa? Passport, visa, lahat ng mga sinasabi mong mga skills mo or yung mga what you're claiming that you know, you can now support them here sa portfolio section by showing those documents. Diba? Anong ebidensya na ikaw ay healthy? Meron kang medical clearance. Anong ebidensya na pwede kang mag-drive ng sasakyan? Meron kang driver's license. Diba? So gets nyo na yung sinasabi ko. Ang point ko lang is you can now put the things here to support yung claim nyo of your skills. Now, you're starting to think, Sir, kung pare-pareho naman kaming graduate sa school namin, pare-pareho kami magkakaklase, same yung course namin, same yung school, same yung teachers, same yung curriculum, pare-pareho lang naman kami lahat, walang experience sa trabaho, how will we stand out? Ayan, di ba? Okay, ito ngayon yung isang magandang recommendation ko sa inyo on how you now stand out. You get your smartphones. Kunin mo yung mga smartphones nyo. Kung wala, manghiram sa kaibigan. Okay, hiram mo sa kaibigan mo. I-record mo yung selfie video mo. You say something interesting about yourself. Record it in about 30 seconds to 1 minute lang. Huwag na masyadong mahaba. Ano gagawin mo? Pretend that you are being interviewed by the HR. So you answer basic questions like, tell me something about yourself. O, di ba? Ano yung mga gasgas sa tanong natin? Why should we hire you? O, di ba? Just imagine na tinanong ka ng HR at sasagutin mo na lang siya. Ang maganda lang ngayon, recorded mo. So kung di mo type yung sagot, i-delete mo. Pag type mo, you save it. Then you upload it sa YouTube or sa Vimeo. Maraming mga video channel na libre, yung mga video converter sa online. Hanapin mo lang. And when you're done, you put that video link doon sa portfolio section nyo. O, di ba? This time, it will definitely make you stand out because depende na to sa diskarte mo on how you're going to present yourself. Okay? So I leave it up to you on how you do that. Now, another thing for you to do, na sure akong hindi to makokopya ng classmate mo, ay yung picture mo. Diba? So you put your profile picture here. Now, when it comes to the picture, hindi kailangan sobrang formal na formal. Hindi kailangan pumunta sa studio. Huwag na kayo gumastos. Ang importante dito, tumingin kayo sa camera. Plain background. Okay? Plain background, tumingin kayo sa camera. Wear something, of course. Wear something decent. Okay? Do not upload profile pictures that look like the right side of your screen. Yung mga sample na yan, hindi po maganda yung sample yan. Okay? So, huwag kayo maglagay ng mga kasi mga sample na profile picture. Now, another good thing pa that will make you stand out using the resume link is your cover photo. Yes! A picture paints 1,000 words. Yan ang kasabihan na very, very applicable dito. A lot of you who are listening today, hindi kayo gifted with writing skills. Hirap kayo i-express ang inyong feelings at inyong thoughts into words. Hindi mo ma-type, hindi mo ma-sulat. Tama? Hirap tayo eh. Bakit? Hindi natural sa atin yan. Pero pagdating sa picture, kayang-kaya mo i-express yung inyong personality. Look at the examples I'm showing you. Look at the one on the left. Ano siya? Isa siyang ophthalmologist or optometrist. Sabi naman ng iba, eye expert. Di ba? Sa kanan, ano siya? Sabi ng iba, sir, parang IT. Sir, techie siguro kasi maraming gadget, pati stapler, gadget niya. Diba? Halimbawa, o sabi ng iba naman, sir, parang makalat. O depende na kung how you are going to interpret it. But now, the way I see it, itong taong to, multitasker. Okay? Another good example I'm showing you is this one. Someone from psychology, someone from neurologist, or maybe someone who knows left and right. Ganun lang kasimple. No? So depende yan how you're going to express yourself. Okay? Another good example pa, itong person na to, ang gusto niya sabihin, there's no shortcut to success. You will be able to reach your goal by taking one step at a time. O, di ba? So I'm showing you good examples. Hindi yan membro na Akit Bahay Gang. Hindi rin po yan social climber, in case that's what you're thinking. So kung nagpakita ko ng magaganda example, I will also show you yung mga hindi magandang example para wag niyong gagayahin. Huwag kayong magpapaka-misteryoso. Okay, make sure you put your picture there. Okay, kasi maraming pangalan ngayon interchangeable. Ako mismo, guilty ako dyan. My name is Kim. A lot of people think babae ako. Ako rin mismo, napagkakamala ko yung mga aplikante, pinakita ko, Chris, George, Alex, Sam. O, diba? Minsan isipin ko, Joey, lalaki. Yung pala, babae. Diba? So you better put your picture there para at least alam ng HR who to expect. Okay? Now, when you make your resume link, dapat may laman talaga yan. Kasi kung walang laman yan, ganyan itsura niyan, blanco. And how do you expect companies will look, or HR from companies will look at your profile if you submit to them resume links that look like this? It's like submitting a piece of a paper, bond paper, or long bond paper, short bond paper na walang laman except pangalan mo. And that's the same as this one. So hindi yan papansinin ng mga HR for sure. Okay? Sayang lang oras nyo tsaka oras ng HR. Kailangan attractive. Okay? When I say attractive or catchy, do not overdo it naman. Now, this is just in my opinion. In my opinion, I think this one is not a good example. Kasi ang dating niya parang tamad, parang happy-go-lucky, parang chill-chill lang, no? Parang ganoon na dating. So, I leave it up to you on how you'll be, expressing yourself na dito. Okay? So, sa mga personality nyo. Alam niyo na anong dapat nyo gawin at hindi nyo dapat gawin. So, showing a very good example is si eye expert. Tignan mo, lahat ng detalye niya, kompleto. Everything. From top to bottom, kompleto lahat ng details, including yung kanyang mga portfolio section na nagpapatunay na siya ay isang licensed ophthalmologist. Pinakita niya lahat ng mga posibleng hingiin pa sa kanya ng mga HR. So bakit ko sinabi sa inyo napapabilis yung buhay dito? Hindi lang buhay nyo. Pati buhay rin ng HR napapabilis because once you submit all this information to that company, when the HR opens your resume link and sees everything about you, dalawa lang ang pwedeng mangyari niyan. One is, nahuli mo attention, gusto ka niya ngayon kausapin or schedule for the next step like interview or possibly job offer, or hindi ka nag-fit. Yun yung second. Di ba? Para at least, ang maganda rito, hindi na pabalik-balik, hindi na siya tatawag para sabihin, hello ma'am, meron ka bang evidence na graduate ka na talaga sa school na yan? Can you send me your transcript? Diba? Can you send me yung mga evidence or yung mga sample skills or sample work mo kasi you are in IT or in graphic design, diba? Gets mo ibig ko sabihin? Wag nang pabalik-balik, sayang yung oras. Okay? Time is of the essence, lalo na ngayon. So you put everything there, at least pag nakita ng HR, diretso na kagad sa pagprocess sa inyo. Okay? A lot of you are now thinking, sir, pag gumawa ako ng resume link at nilagay ko lahat ng information ko dyan, baka naman yung mga data ko nakakalat na sa buong mundo. Baka naman yung mga information ko nakalantad na sa buong internet. The answer is, no. Kaya nga siya tinawag na the most secured resume. Okay? Bakit siya tinawag na most secured resume? Because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings. Follow the screen. Inside your dashboard, when you log in, you can go to your settings. Sa settings mo, to be specific, puntahan mo yung privacy settings. In your privacy settings, you choose the information that you want to show in public. Halimbawa lang you do not want to show your birthday. What do you do? Turn it off. Ayaw mo pakita yung address mo. What do you do? Turn it off. Ayaw mo pakita ang inyong references. What do you do? Turn it off. So lahat na naka-off, hindi lalabas sa public. At sino may control niyan? Kayo lang. O, di ba? Ang maganda pa rito, real-time update yan. Halimbawa, today, you decide not to show your birthday, your address, and references. And then 5 minutes later, you decide, sige, pakita ko na nga birthday ko. Turn it on. Real-time. 5 minutes later, the moment you save your settings, lahat ng binigyan mo ng resume link, updated na rin sila real time. As in real time. Di ba? Ayos, di ba? Sige, tuloy natin. Tuloy pa natin to. So, reminders ko na lang sa mga late na dumating or kakakinig lang, when you make your resume link, make sure that your profile is interesting and attractive. Okay? Wag OA. Iba yung over naman yun. No? Wag naman ganun. So, make sure it's attractive, it's catchy. Complete all the information, especially your contact details. Kasi sayang naman lahat ng ginawa mo, nahuli mo attention, hindi ka makontak ng HR. So, better make sure nandyan yung mga contact details na updated. Okay? So, yan. So, tapos na tayo sa 2 steps. Last step na lang. Ano yung first step? Recap lang. First step is register. Wala tong bayad. Libre po yan. Second step is for you to complete the information. Yan ang pinaka-logical. And the last step now is for you to submit. So, you're now thinking, okay to paano ko gagamitin ngayon yung resume link? Bigyan kita ng iba-ibang paraan. Okay, lahat ito practical application para makarelate kayo. Unang option, pumunta ka sa website ng jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com, and that's where you now start to look for companies. Type the companies that you're looking for. Pag may lumabas, edi good. Pag walang lumabas, edi wala. Okay, huwag din pilitin. Okay? Now, you can also see there a lot of companies, a lot of company logos that you can shop around, you can choose, learn about the company, and if you want to be part of the company, I recommend you submit your resume link kahit na hindi ka pa qualified. Let me repeat what I just said. If you want to be part of an organization, if you want to be part of that company, even if you are not yet qualified, I recommend you give your resume link to that company. Bakit? Imagine, kung ngayong hapon, ngayong araw, nagsubmit ka ng resume link sa isang kumpanya na naghahanap ng 3 years experience na aplikante. Wala ka pang 3 years experience. Okay lang. Because nabigay mo na yung resume link mo sa kanya, pagdating ng 2024, siguro naman by that time, meron ka ng 3 years experience, di ba? Kasi nag-work ka na ngayon by 2021. By 2024, may 3 years experience ka na, pwede ka na ma-qualify dun sa position in-applyan mo. And you never know. That company might just contact you later on, provided that your details are still updated. So you have to update those information real time. Ayos ba? Ayos, di ba? Wala nang pabalik-balik. Hindi mo na kailangan magbalik-balik dun sa kumpanya para sabihin, nag-apply po ko sa inyo last year. Ako po yung OJT nyo 3 months ago. Wala nang ganun. Okay? Another practical application. When you submit your resumes through email, how do you do that? Madalas, ito ginagawa natin. Mag-email tayo, sasabihin natin, Dear HR Manager, I would like to apply for the following position and this is my resume. Ano gagawin nyo? I-attach mo yung Word file mo or PDF file mo. Tama? If that is how you're doing it, wag mo nang gawin yon. Wag ka na mag-attach ng anything sa email. Pampabagal lang yan, tsaka makaluma na yung style na yan. Bakit ko sinabi yon? Kasi hindi mo na kailangan talaga mag-attach ng anything. Ang gagawin mo, i-type mo na lang doon sa email mo yung resume link mo. Example, Dear HR Manager, I would like to apply for the following position. And this is my resume. In this example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz, 01.jobs180.com. That's it. Submit. I look forward to your information. Thank you. Send. Every time meron kang babaguhin sa details mo, hindi mo na kailangan padalhan yung HR. Kasi kung ginagamit mo mga attachment, ang kulit niyan ang kulit, saka nakapagod. Ano gagawin mo pag nagbago ka ng phone number? Dear HR Manager, this is now my updated resume. Mamaya-maya, 2 weeks later, nagpalit ka ng phone number. Ano gagawin mo? Dear HR Manager, this is now my updated, most recent resume. O di ba? Every time meron kang babaguhin, padala ka na padala doon sa HR. Nakakapagod yan, hindi lang sa part nyo, kundi sa part din namin sa mga HR to keep track which one yung pinaka-updated na details. So this time, wala na kailangan. Palit-palit na lang kayo ng details nyo, update-update na lang sa loob ng resume link. Ayos ba? Ayos pa. Okay, tuloy pa natin to. Okay? If you want to print your resume, this is now the good news. You can now print your resume link. No matter how much information you have, the system will try to compress everything into one page. So kung gusto mo talaga mag-print ng papel at mag-submit sa mga kumpanya, walang kaso. Pumunta ka lang sa dashboard mo, hanapin mo yung print na option at mamili ka kung 1 column or 2 column version ang gusto mo i-print. What the system will do is it will try to compress everything into one page para tipid na. O, diba? Now, usapang tipid. Ito mas tipid pa. Gusto mo mag-print ng resume pero gusto mo magtipid. Itong gawin mo. Gumawa ka ng resume link card. Ano tong resume link card? Sa isang pirasong long bond or short bond paper, mag-design ka ng maraming resume link card. No, maliliit lang, parang business card ang dating. In one piece of paper, I think you can make 10, 20 sets of cards. Depende sa size ng papel mo. At ang importante lang ilagay mo dyan sa resume link card mo ay syempre ang inyong resume link. Diba? So, hindi mo na kailangan ilagay lahat ng details mo sa resume sa loob ng maliit na papel. Lagay mo lang resume link mo. And that is what you now give to the companies when you start applying. Look at the picture I'm showing you. Diba? Tipid. Hindi lang tipid. Secured pa. Tingnan nyo. If you submit yung big paper resume nyo, long bond paper, sinubmit mo sa isang kumpanya, nag-apply ka. For some reason, nilipad ng hangin. Yung nakapulot ng papel na yan, alam na buong detalye mo because everything is in that one-page printout. Now, if you lose that small piece of paper, don't worry. Meron kang peace of mind. Bakit? Yung mga kapulot niyan, limited sa privacy settings mo because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings kahit na i-type niya yan sa browser. Okay? So, ang recommend ko rin sa mga nakikinig, use the gadget. Take advantage of the technology. Use your gadget, your laptop, your cell phone, your tablet, kung ano man. Okay? Para ngayon kasi, with this day and age, technology na ang gamitin natin. Kung mano-mano pa rin kayo, wala kayong gadget, okay lang. Huwag kayong malungkot. You can still submit to the companies by just simply writing the resume link on a piece of paper. As simple as that. Okay? So, again, sa mga nagtatanong, ano yung mga guidelines ko para makagawa ako ng job-winning resume? Ito yung guideline ko. Ito yung checklist ko. Are you using the right tool? That's the ultimate question. There are so many tools right now, but these are the things that you should consider when you make your resume. And that is the resume link. It already addresses the following. Number one, security ng information mo. I hope by this time, you have peace of mind. Ito na ang pinaka-secured na information because you have the ultimate control over your privacy setting. Pangalawa, the speed of hire becomes faster. It becomes more efficient because whatever you need, whatever the HR needs, you can already put it inside the resume link. Another thing is that it's flexible. If you want to print, just in case lang gusto mo talaga mag-print ng resume nyo, you have the option to print it. And you don't have to worry about saan ko sinave yung file na yan, saan ko tinago, wala nang ganon. Just log into your account and print. Mamili ka lang kung 1-column or 2-column version. At higit sa lahat, wala po itong bayad. Tipid po ito. Walang bayad. Okay? Ang kailangan mo lang, of course, internet. Sa mga nag-iisip sa inyo, sir, kailangan ko ng pan-data, pwede ka naman makakonect sa internet na walang data. Punta ka sa libreng wifi. Diba? Baka yung kapitbahay nyo may libreng wifi, makagamit ka muna. Later on, pag may trabaho ka na, may sweldo na, bayaran mo yung wifi niya. Diba? Bawi-bawi lang yan. No? Give and take. And there are a lot more benefits to just what I've mentioned. Marami pang iba. You can share your resume link to whatever platform you want to share it to. Gusto mo i-text? Gusto mo siya i-private message? Gusto mo i-send via Viber? Kayo bahala. Pwede mo i-share. Basta kayo may control. Ganun lang kasimple. No? Kung hindi mo ito binigay sa kahit kanino, hindi malalaman to nung taong yon. And you don't have to save it to whatever USBs or hard drive. No need na. Wala rin tong mga tipong version na kailangan pa mag-compatible. Walang ganun. Lahat ito compatible. Pwede lahat. Okay? So, shout out na lang ako. Shout out to all our school partners. By the grace of God, right now, we have about 400 plus colleges and university partners nationwide, including your alma mater. So, thank you. We're very thankful for this opportunity that we're able to do this kahit tayo nasa loob ng bahay, kahit kayo ay nasa loob ng bahay. So, hindi tayo physically nagpe-present, pero nakakatulong pa rin tayo, especially if you have friends or relatives whom you think would need this tool. Please share this to them. Okay? Sa mga nagtatanong naman ng mga frequently asked questions, sasagutin ko na. Ito kasi yung mga common questions na kadalasan tinatanong sa akin. Ang tanong, can I give my resume link to companies who do not know about jobs180.com? The answer is absolutely yes. It depends kung sino ang bibigyan mo. Ikaw may ultimate control niyan. Okay? Pangalawang question, is this the same as other job platform like LinkedIn, JobStreet, iba pang mga job site? The answer is no. Meron tong dalawang major difference. Yes. Lalo na pagdating sa security. Okay. Of course, explain lang ako Okay. With respect to the other sites that I've mentioned, let me just use JobStreet as an example para lang mas makarelate, no? Para makarelate. You can only use JobStreet resume if you're applying to companies who are also using JobStreet. If you're applying to a company who is not using JobStreet, you cannot use your JobStreet resume anymore. With your resume link, you can use this to any type of company, any platform, wherever they are. Kahit sa loob ng Pilipinas or sa labas ng Pilipinas, pwede mong applyan. Kahit hindi niya alam ang Jobs 180, basta alam niya ang resume link mo, pwede niya mabuksan ang profile at makita according to your settings. That's the first difference. Pangalawang difference, kung nabigay mo na, Kung na-submit mo na ang job street resume mo sa isang company, wala ka nang pwedeng baguhin. Lahat ng data mo nandun na yan sa HR. Yes. Hindi na magbabago yan real time. With your resume link, na-submit mo today, mali pala number mo, na-submit mo today, mali pala yung spelling mo, you can always edit it, enter, save it, real-time update. Lahat ng binigyan mo ng resume link, updated real-time. Ayos? Okay, tuloy tayo sa number 3 question. Number 3 question is the easiest question. Ang tanong dito is, can I keep my information secured? I hope by this time, na-convince ko na kayo na ito na ang pinaka-secured na platform. Okay? That's the reason why I'm sharing this to you. Okay? Number 4, I think this is the most important question. How often should you update your resume link? Ang sagot dito, hindi araw-araw, hindi linggo-linggo, hindi buwan-buwan, hindi taon-taon. Ang sagot dito ay every time. Every time na meron kayong babaguhin, lalo na ang contact details nyo. Yan ang importante. You have to update your contact details every time na meron kayong papalitan doon. Kasi yan yung paraan para makontak kayo ng mga companies. And the last question is just a trivia. Why is this called jobs180.com? This is called jobs180.com because we want to turn your life around. Yan, di ba? 180 degrees. Hindi siya 360. Kasi kung 360, bumalik ka lang kung saan ka galing. Di balik-balik ka lang, balik-balik ka lang, balik-balik ka lang. Di wala nangyari. Di ba? So you have to do it 180 degrees. It's a straight line towards your career goal. Okay? Just in case may tanong pa kayo, nahiya magtanong, pumunta lang kayo sa website namin, sa jobs180.com, or email me here sa info@jobs180.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram para makakuha kayo ng mga latest trends in recruitment. Okay? Again, my name is Kim Chu Wa. Don't forget yung Wa. Okay? Baka Kim Chu lang maalala nyo. Na nagsasabing, be safe at isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sir Kim. Ayan. So to our audience, the floor is now open for questions. So if meron kayong tanong that you want to address to Sir Kim, please put it in our comment section. Ayan. So Sir, I will go ahead. Meron akong pinipare na question for you. Tapos itatanong ko natin, Sir, habang nag-iisip sila ng questions nila.
Okay.
So number
Game.
1, if I'm a fresh graduate, like in the next few months, I will be graduating, when would be the best time to apply?
The best time to apply or the best time to create a resume link? Best time to apply.
Best time to apply, sir.
Okay. So, if you are anticipating in the next few weeks or in the next few months, 'di ba, nag-graduate na kayo and you're looking for a full-time position, my assumption is, I hope my assumption is correct. Kasi pwede ka naman mag-apply ngayon if you're looking for part-time. Huwag mo na antayin yung gagraduate ka, umanap ka lang ng part-time or for internship, 'di ba? Or for summer job, ganun, or racket-racket. Pero kung full-time position, I recommend you can already start applying as early as possible. Yan din yung sagot ko. Wag mo na antayin yung time nag-graduate ka, tsaka ka lang mag-a-apply. Why? Because when you start to submit your information now, and the companies will get your resume link, so they'll be processing it, diba? They'll be looking at it. Hindi naman hindi naman siya rocket science eh, 'di ba? Pag nakita ko doon sa resume link mo na nakalagay you are expected to graduate, example lang March of 2022, then I will have two options on my end. One is I can already contact you as early as now, and kumbaga sa nire-reserve na kita, 'di ba? Process na kita, ni-screen na kita, and then we'll just work on some requirements na lang later on kung anong kailangan towards your graduation, towards your pag kailangan mo na magtapusin yung academic calendar mo, academic curriculum mo. Baka naman yung ibang companies, they're willing to hire you na even if hindi ka pa talaga fully graduated. Diba? Hindi pa officially na gumagraduate.
Sir? Pwede po ba yun?
Yes, that also happens. I know a lot of companies who are doing that. Kasi ayaw nila pakawalan na yung, kumbaga sa una-unahan lang yan di ba? Kung nakita nila may magaling na candidate, di ba? Tapos pwede naman lalo na ngayon if you can work on something na tawag nito, hindi naman makaka-affect sa academics mo, then you could also consider that. Now, remember, it takes two to tango. Diba? Alam ko, lumang kasabihan na yan. No? It takes two to tango, but it means, kayo naman mag-agree kayo mag-uusap ng employer about your situation. If the company presents their opportunity and they tell you, oh, you have to be official, be an official graduate, kailangan may diploma ka na, may transcript ka na, before we accept you, then, yun yung scenario. So, we wait. 'di ba? Si company mag-aantay until officially may graduation ka na at meron ka ng mga documents. Now, if the companies are open to hire you, kasi you're gano'n na lang, parang konting months na lang siya, tapos formality na lang yung mga documents na kailangan for the HR. Depende sa company yan. I'm saying lang is, again, it takes two to tango. If that opportunity is being presented to you, you now have the decision as an applicant if you want to pursue, diba, or hindi. Kung kaya mo rin i-balance yung iyong natitirang academics na requirement, pati dun sa trabaho na papasukin nyo. But to answer lang yung question ni Ma'am Shari is, when do you start submitting your information or applying to companies, especially if you're anticipating na malapit ka na graduate? Ako is as soon as possible, as soon as you're ready, submit ka na. Basta yung company gusto mong applyan, gusto mong submitan ng information, gusto mo talaga yung company na yun. Huwag kang mag-apply sa mga kumpanyang basta-basta na lang. Yung parang, alam mo yun, yung sabi nga nila lakas tira, lakas tsamba, sino unang tumawag sa'yo, yun na entertain mo. So I hope hindi ganun. No? You have the time to research, make sure that these companies are applying to, you really want to work for them. So
To
yan yung,
follow na lang yung mga requirements, sir.
oo,
The
yes.
rest of the
Diba?
requirements.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yan yun.
Sige. Next question, sir. Can we ask if there are vacancies in the Bicol area po for our fresh grads?
Oh, sure. Sa mga nakikinig ngayon, may assumption is most of you are from Bicol kasi itong event na to para sa Bicol University for all campuses yan. No? So, ang daming campuses covered. We invited speakers. No? Later on, marinig nyo si Probe tsaka si Ernst Young. They'll be telling you about opportunities na pwede nila i-welcome, lalo na sa mga taga Bicol. You can also check out the website of jobs180.com or the link that is being scrolled here. Kung makikita mo, may school link po kayo. Schools with an S, .jobs180.com/bu. Simple na lang yun schools, may S lang, no? Schools.jobs180.com/bu. You can check it out. And then you can see opportunities there. You can filter yung mga opportunities sa Bicol. Marami po tayong mga Bicol companies, mga industry partners na nandyan. And they are also hiring. So yun, you can check it out. Yes.
Alright. Sir, what do we do if the company that we want is hindi namin makita sa Jobs 180 site? Anong alternative po namin?
Okay, so sabi ko nga, huwag natin pilitin, no? Pag meron kang gustong kumpanya at sinearch mo sa jobs180.com, lumabas, edi meron. Okay? Sinearch mo sa jobs180 na search bar doon, tapos hindi lumabas yung company, malamang wala. Now, it doesn't mean na pag wala siya sa Jobs on 80, hindi ka na mag-apply doon sa kumpanyang gusto mong applyan. We still recommend that you apply to those companies and use your resume link. So ano yung mga pwede mong alternative na option? You can send them via email, you can send them via text, via chat, via messenger. Depende kung paano mo gusto. Gusto mo magpadala ka ng postal postal mail kung pwede rin. Depende sa iyo. If you want to walk in, maybe the company has a receptionist there that you can leave your hard copy of your resume link. Pwede rin. You can print out your resume link. It will be compressed into one column or two column version. Pero either way, it will be in one page. So depende kung ano yung mga paraan na gusto mo applyan, you can still use your resume link regardless if they are if you can see them sa Jobs on 18 na site or wala. Diba? Yun. So check it out. Walang mawala. Just basta lang gusto mo yung kumpanya applyan, then by all means applyan mo. Ayan.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you for that, sir. And to our audience, are we sure that we don't have questions for Sir Kim? So kung nahihiya kayong ilagay dito, you can message us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/jobs180 and a customer service rep will try to address your concern. So Sir Kim, on behalf of BU, we thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat din. Thank you and be safe everyone.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
day, sir. All right. So we go to our second speaker to discuss virtual interviews. We have here Miss Maria Katrina M. Vera, HR Talent Acquisition Specialist for Probe. Miss MK is a skilled talent acquisition specialist. She is regarded as the go-to person on best practices in her field while juggling the responsibilities of a fairly new mother to her Princess Inca, who will be turning 1 year old this December. So Miss MK has extensive background in sales management, marketing, and voice and non-voice customer service prior to her stint in the field of talent acquisition. With a bachelor's degree in marketing management, our Miss Independent journeyed the corporate jungle early on in her career, and she has been the top performer in Probe CX talent acquisition team. She's the busy queen bee handling the volume hiring of diverse accounts under travel, telco, logistics, and utilities industry. So we give the floor to Miss Maria, Miss MK. Ayan, Miss MK. Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Ma'am, can we
Okay.
try sharing your screen? Ayan. Ayan
Yep.
na po.
Can
Ayan.
you see it?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, your
Okay.
screen is up. I'll give you 20 minutes and we'll be back for the question and answer po. So, to our audience, if may nakita kayong point of concern or meron kayong gustong i-clear kay Miss MK sa presentation niya later, ilagay niyo lang sa comment section para mabalikan natin. Alright? Miss MK, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Shari. So, good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are still with us. I'll try to make this as quick so that hindi naman siya too much information. So, good morning again. I am MK and I represent Probe CX. I am one of the talent acquisition specialists. And for today, I'll be sharing with you some tips on how to behave and answer common interview questions. I know you guys might be excited to venture into the employment world. So I'll be sharing with you the things that I also share to my colleagues and to some of my friends as well. Okay. So with the COVID-19 pandemic, it has forced many companies, including Probe CX, to adapt to the new normal. Since hindi na tayo pwede mag face-to-face interviews, we're already prohibited. So we have to veer away from that kind of setup. So what we did was to find a different way to still be able to find talents and to hire people for our clients. So what we did is to switch to the virtual way. So even our candidates to have to observe a new set of guidelines since hindi na nga pwedeng pumunta sa office to have or to apply physically. So I'll be sharing to you the things that is very important for this new way of applying for jobs. Okay, so let's start. Be first would be contactable. I was listening to Sir Kim's discussion earlier about resume. So it's very important that you put in your updated contact information. Now, yung iba sa atin, we have like a lot of contact numbers and even email addresses. We have different email addresses to our different social media accounts, 'di ba? So I would suggest that you have just one nominated email address solely for job applications para lang you won't get confused. You can easily open it up if you want to get updates sa job applications nyo. I just want to share that I've actually encountered several candidates na hindi daw sila nakakapag-check ng email. So, sometimes hindi nila ma-access. So, I would really suggest for you to just have one email address for job applications. I-jot down nyo yung password because it's very important for you to access it. And then yung contact information then. You just have to nominate at least one contact number or maybe two, at least have an alternative contact number and make sure na may signal yung phone nyo. Make sure that it's ready to accept ready to accept calls and receive SMS. And then always check your emails kasi for Probe CX in particular, we would send out like notifications, assessments, and updates through email. Usually, parang secondary na lang yung calls and SMS if we are unable to hear from you through email. So it's very important that you have access to those two means. Okay. And then second would be to be tech ready since digital age na nga tayo and we are already making use of the digital platforms. You have to prepare your tech requirements. Now, first, yung internet connection. I think most of us naman na has internet connection, but the problem is since ako din I'm from the province, I'm in Naga City, we have like issues sometimes with internet connection. So it's very good for you to have a backup. So you can use a pocket Wi-Fi or a prepaid Wi-Fi, especially during scheduled interviews. Kasi we don't want to be interrupted in the middle of the interview because of an unstable internet connection. It might be the only chance for you to have that interview. So might as well really prepare for it, 'di ba? And another thing apart from connection would be yung device. So it could be a computer, it could be a desktop, it could be a laptop, a smartphone. Yung smartphone, pwede din naman siya as long as it's capable, or even a tablet. You can even use a tablet. So depending on the platform that you will be using during the interview. Sometimes naman, the interviewers for ProCX, our recruiters would tell you that you can use a laptop, you can use a smartphone as long as it's capable. Capable meaning it has a good working microphone. And then sometimes we would tell the applicants if you need to turn your cameras on. Sometimes naman hindi. It's okay for you not to turn your cameras on. But there are certain interviewers, especially yung mga managers from our different accounts, they would tell the candidates to, like in the middle of the interview, to like, hey, can you turn the camera on just so that we can see each other, para lang mas personal yung conversation ninyo. And then para mas komportable din yung isa't isa when talking to each other instead of talking lang sa screen, 'di ba? So, yon, you have to prepare for that scenario then. And then yung microphone is also very important kasi what if walang video, tapos yung microphone nyo pa is not working well. So mahihirapan yung interviewer na maintindihan ka, and it will totally give a different experience lalo na sa interviewer kasi hindi ka maiintindihan. So it will affect maybe yung the way the interviewer would understand yung question, yung answer mo sa questions. So it might have a different impact na sa application mo. And chances are baka pwede pang ma-reschedule yung ano mo, yung interview. So you have to prepare for that as well. And then next would be you have to explore yung mga platforms that we are now using. Examples would be Google Meet, Zoom, and then MS Teams. Now, for Probe CX in particular, we use Google Meet since it's quite easy. Kahit actually wala kang account, you just have to click on the link sent by our recruiters. You can already access the meeting room, just have to wait to be admitted by the interviewer, and then you're already in the meeting room, you can have the interview. So as early as now, I want you guys to explore those platforms, para lang if ever you get to that point that you will be interviewed using those platforms, you're already able to navigate at least yung mga basic tools or basic tabs or buttons lang nung platform. Other companies might use different ones. So, of course, you will still be informed on what platforms you guys will be using for the scheduled interview. Okay. Next would be to find a place that's conducive for an interview. Of course, ayaw naman natin na merong, like in the province, maraming may mga manok, may mga chickens, or may mga aso na tumatahol, may mga babies. And just right now, yung neighbor ko merong nagpupukpok. So, if you can hear that, sorry. So ganon, you have to prepare for that. Kasi if there would be a lot of background noise, madidistract ka, and the interviewer would also be distracted. And it would really give off a different impression. So the best place would be like your room na kahit nasa corner lang, and then you just have to prepare na wala lang talaga masyadong noise, and then good lighting, especially for video interviews, if you're required to turn your videos on. So very good na may maganda yung ilaw para lang makita ka. And then you also have to let the people you live with know about your schedule. So, syempre, ayaw naman natin na in the middle of the interview, halimbawa, you're already very, ang tawag dito, very eager to answer the question, you're in that moment, tapos biglang may kakatok sa pinto na say, uy, kain ka na, or merong ganito, tumatawag si ganyan. So, you will be distracted and you will lose focus dun sa um, sagot mo. Baka nga makalimutan mo pa yung sagot mo. So, we don't want that to happen kasi you have to think that this would be like your only chance to get that dream job. So, you have to really look out or watch out for possible distractions, and prepare for how you will combat that distraction. So yun, sabihan mo sila na pwedeng halimbawa 10:30 to 11 wala munang mag-distract sa akin kasi meron akong interview. You can even put a do not disturb sign sa door mo para lang you can focus during the interview, kasi ito lang, you have to think that this will be your only chance. Okay? And then next, apart dun sa mga peripherals and the external factors, you also have to prepare yourself. Ito yung pinaka-importante kasi if you're not prepared yourself, paano ka makakasagot? Paano ka makaka-focus? So, preparing yourself and doing your homework. So, graduate ka na pero may homework ka pa. Doing your homework is also for your own good. But let's focus dun muna sa sarili mo. So, you have to practice then. You have to practice your skills, or yung parang how you would highlight your strengths, your achievements. Hindi ko sinasabing prepare like a script, a memorized script, but at least maybe list down your achievements or the things that you want to highlight, or the highlight of your career, or of your studies. Ano ba yung mga nagawa, significant contributions mo sa school or sa organization mo during your academic years, para lang when you get to that point that you're asked about that certain instance, you know what to answer. Hindi yung um you will take time to think about those moments, para lang like you already have a list na yun yung itatackle mo during your interview. And then this the second one is important. Take note of the names of the companies you applied at. I've encountered several candidates na nakakalimutan nila yung name ng companies na na-applyan nila. It kind of give off a negative impression na you're just sending out applications. I think Mr. Sir Kim mentioned this earlier na you have to anong tawag dito, applyan mo yung company gusto mo talaga. So if you really want that job from that company, you have to jot it down. You have to take note of that position of that company, para lang when they contact you, you know what to do, 'di ba? Hindi yung tatawagan ka tapos sasabihin mo, "Ay, nakalimutan ko po yung ina-applyan kong position." I've encountered several candidates who had that experience. So I want you not to experience that. I want you guys to be prepared for that moment na matawagan na kayo nung in-applyan yung company. And then third would be research about the company. Ito na yung homework na sinasabi ko. Kasi there would be instances na may interviewers na talagang they would ask specific questions about their company, what you know about their company. I want to share my experience, no. I recall there was this one time way like many years ago when I graduated college. I was in Ayala, so maraming companies doon. So I wasn't really prepared. Ang meron lang ako is my resume, and then I was wearing corporate attire. And then I sent out applications dun sa mga security personnel, and I will just wait for the HR team or the recruitment team to contact me. So there was this one bank. I already had the assessments. I'm confident with the assessments, but during the interview, I was asked about like a certain topic or a certain information about specifically sa company nila, and I didn't really research about it, so I don't know what to answer. I just gave out very generic answers. I don't even know if it's related. So right at that moment, I know na I wouldn't get that job, because yun parang make or break question siya, or it's like a tricky question, or a question from the interviewer they would like catch whether you have prepared for that interview. I don't want to put you into that position, so as early as now, I want you guys to really research about the company that you are eyeing on. Kung sino yung company, anong company yung gusto nyong trabahuhan, you have to research about them. Okay? And then dress for success. Now, this is very much applicable sa mga face-to-face interviews. The good thing about virtual interviews is kahit yung upper portion lang yung ang tawag dito, preparan mo, then, okay na yon. Kasi hindi naman nila makikita yung pambaba, 'di ba? So you just have to wear a very presentable top, a blouse or a blazer, gano'n. Kahit yun lang, you have to prepare for that. Hindi na yung pambaba kasi hindi naman siya nakikita unless you're applying for a model. Then you could be asked to, um have a whole body capture of like how you wear or how you dressed up for that interview. So yon, if you want to wear makeup for girls, then that's fine, pero hindi naman talaga necessary heavy makeup. Yung ano lang, something that you're comfortable wearing. So the trick for this is hindi siya yung i-over, parang over na yung pag dress up mo to prepare for that interview. Just wear something comfortable na still presentable naman. So yon. And then the next one would be to be ready for a group interview. Now, for Probe CX, we would have that our recruiters would sometimes have group interviews, meaning there would be like 3 to 5 candidates na nasa schedule in one time lang, because ang tawag dito, we want to maximize the time. So we would want you to prepare for that scenario kasi there would be some sort of a competition pag ganun. Kasi merong iba-ibang candidates, may iba-ibang profile, iba-ibang personalities, and you want to stand out in that kind of situation, 'di ba? Para ikaw yung makuha or mapansin talaga ng interviewer. So be ready for that scenario. And the next would be to be early. Not be on time, but be early. Kahit since virtual lang naman siya, at least 5 minutes prior to your schedule, ready ka na to join the session or the meeting room, ready ka na to be admitted dun sa meeting room. It will give a very good impact or impression dun sa interviewer if you are early for your um, schedule. For me, when I do interviews, it's really a plus point, or it's a bonus for those who are early sa session namin, because it really means that the candidate is committed and really want the job because they prepared for that, for the interview. And then listen well to questions. This one is very important. You have to put focus, you have to be in the zone when you are having that interview. And when you listen well to questions, and that means you will be able to provide relevant and specific responses. Now, I've encountered candidates na because they are too overwhelmed with the moment, sometimes yung answers nila would veer away from what I am really looking for. So parang medyo hindi na siya konektado. So you still have to be you shouldn't lose focus kahit sobrang excited ka to answer the question. And sometimes kasi when you're too excited or too nervous, medyo hindi mo na masyadong naiintindihan yung question. So you still have to relax kahit excited ka to really get that job. Okay? So next would be the common interview question. So I'll just run through the questions that I prepared. To introduce yourself, this is like an elevator speech. So it's a quick synopsis of your background, of your achievements, your strengths. So pwede mong like sabihin, I would suggest not for you not to enumerate yung nasa resume, because chances are nandun na um hawak na ng interviewer yung resume mo. So what they want to know is something that's not in your resume. So maybe focus on achievements mo. What are your strengths during your in your past job, or maybe in your academic years if you don't have any work experience. So just very short lang na can still catch the interviewer's attention. And then next would be, why did you apply in our company? Now, this one is important kasi bakit mo nga ba gustong maging part ng company namin? It's not, kasi ang iba parang, para lang may trabaho ako. You have to make sure that you really have a specific reason or a goal why you applied in that company, because you're looking at a long term stay naman siguro in a company, 'di ba? So you have to know the reason why you applied in that company, why you want to be part of that company. You have to go back to your goal, or to what you really want to achieve in life. That's why you want to apply in that company, or what you want to be a part of that company. And then next would be, what do you know about our company or position that you applied for? So eto na yung homework. What if tinanong kayo, ano bang alam mo sa company namin? Ano bang alam mo dun sa position na yon? So maganda na prepared kayo for this question, kasi if hindi, um it will have a different impression sa interviewer. And then next would be, why did you leave your previous job? So eto applicable siya dun sa may mga work experience, no? So it's a no-no for you to badmouth your previous company. So what if, like, anong tawag dito, hindi maganda yung experience mo. Hindi mo sasabihin na hindi maganda yung experience mo. You can do positive scripting. You can maybe say na the recent changes in the company made me realize that their goals are no longer aligned with my goals, and I can see that I will grow in a different company na. Parang gano'n na lang. You don't say na, ang pangit-pangit ng management doon, ganito si ganito, ganyan. So, you don't say that. It's a no-no for you to badmouth your previous company, okay? And then, why should we hire you? This is like, as cliche as it may sound, but some companies still ask this to their applicants. Bakit nga ba? Why should we give you this job? You can say, this would be like a step, this would be a way for me to improve my current skill set, and I know that I can offer something to the company. So parang i-highlight nyo yung ano yung meron ka, ano yung meron ng company, and how you can put it together so that you can be successful. So ganun yung pagsagot nung question na yon. Okay? And then you have to dress for success. So eto na yon. Etong nasa slide ko, parang mostly applicable siya sa face-to-face interviews. So you have to wear really decent. Mostly ang preferred would be something with a color, or yung mga neutral tones lang, earth tones lang, hindi yung overpowering na colors, hindi siya yung shining, shimmering, kasi um it might distract the interviewer. So yung very soft tones lang. And then don't wear yung mga sleeveless. If you are wearing sleeveless, at least put or wear a blazer or a cardigan. And then for makeup, hindi heavy yung makeup, just yung tama lang para makita pa rin yung glow ng mukha mo. And then for guys, you just have to trim yung facial hair if you're not comfortable shaving it all the way. Kahit konting trim lang, and then ayusin lang yung hair. And for girls, you can put your hair in a bun, or maybe wear a clip or a headband para lang hindi pumunta yung buhok mo sa hair mo. So ganon. Ito yung mga samples, just very simple, ano lang siya, outfits or attire. So yon for an interview. All right, so additional application tips. Be invested in your application. So you have to be really committed. And then you have to be patient and considerate. So kasi nga marami din naman na pinaprocess na applicants yung mga recruiters. So be patient na you can't be processed after you sent out your application. It could take 24 to 48 hours, and be in the moment. So it's also the same with being invested. So you have to really cherish that moment and not be distracted. Okay, so I'll be discussing some of the opportunities that we have. Mostly, yung urgent namin would be in Eastwood. We have cruise availability for our cruise programs. But for our Naga site, where you guys are nearest to, we have CSR positions available. Pero start date is January 2022 pa. So yun, you can just check out post job postings na lang. And if you want to send out your applications, you can you can just send your applications to jobs180.com/probe. So yun lang. I'm open to questions if you have questions.
Thank you for that, Miss MK. So to our audience, you are now open for questions. So please lagay nyo lang yung comments nyo doon sa ating comment section. So ma'am, I'll go ahead. So first question po while they're thinking about their question. What are common mistakes for fresh graduates po that you'd like our audience to avoid?
Okay, common mistakes. So yung parang they have to avoid. Yun nga for fresh graduates, yung mga negative, like using negative words when they ask you about like yung mga organizations na na-joinan mo since wala kang work experience. So just avoid using negative words. So be positive kasi you're just starting, or you are jump starting your career, 'di ba? So you have to be optimistic with everything that you want to share to the interviewer. So it's okay naman to at least share like some bits of parang downside, but you also have to share something like what you did to be able to get back up, or to um maka-recover dun sa situation na yon. So yon, mostly kasi sa fresh graduates, um, they're very fresh. So, they're really good candidates sa mga, ang tawag dito, yung mga entry levels, ganon.
Ayan, thank you for that, ma'am. Ma'am, follow-up question lang po. Are the positions available for probe in the Bicol area po? Are all courses eligible to apply?
Yes, actually hindi sa'min required for you to have a degree. At least high school graduate, okay siya. Although yung like what I mentioned, yung opening namin sa January, we require yung may mga experience na BPO experience when it come like telco background. Pero yung other openings namin for Naga and even for other sites, we don't require to have, a bachelor's degree, as long as you pass the online assessments, the interviews, and you have the skills na hinahanap namin, you are open to apply.
Alright, thank you, ma'am. And if they fail po, for example, ma'am, they failed the language assessment
Mhm.
exam, how do they get to an academy for it, or how soon can they reapply
Reapply.
again?
Mm-hmm. Well, reapplication period sa amin is after 4 months. That's the standard for Probe CX. But sometimes, we might make some considerations. So yon. But what we advise is 4 months reapplication para lang you have that yung learning curve kasi when it comes to language specifically, para you have time to improve and to work on those areas for improvement that I mentioned during the interview. So 4 months I think is like good enough for you to see improvement sa language skills or communication skills.
All right. So thank you for that, ma'am. So to our you can see it flashing on your screen. It's jobs20.com/probe. It's also available on your school site. The school site is schools.jobs20.com/bu. So that's where you see vacancies from Probe and the other company partners of your school. Ayan. Miss MK, on behalf of Jobs 180 and the entire BU team, we thank you po again for joining us this afternoon, and we hope that we can invite you po in future sessions with other schools naman po. So thank you,
Okay.
Miss MK.
Thank you po.
Have a
Thank you
great
for
day po,
inviting
ma'am.
me. Stay safe po,
Stay
everyone.
safe
Thank
po.
you.
Thank you, Miss MK. So now we proceed to our third topic for the day. It's expectations in the new normal. So this will be presented by Sir Al Dennis Petran. He is the Talent Development Assistant Director for EY Philippines. Sir Dennis brings with him over 18 years of experience in supporting the learning and development needs of organizations across levels. And prior to joining EY, he worked with GP Strategies as the Leadership and Management Training Manager for East Asia. He has also worked with HSBC Global Services Centers, partnering with various senior leaders in 7 countries to drive leadership development. Sir Dennis has a Bachelor's of Science degree in Psychology from Ateneo de Manila University. He is also a certified facilitator for Situational Leadership 2 program from the Ken Blanchard companies, as well as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator MBTI program from CPP. He is also a certified instructor for Tracom Social Style and Versatility. In his spare time, Sir Dennis enjoys playing tabletop games, Dungeons and Dragons, and board games with friends and spending time with his two kids. Sir Dennis, please join us.
Hello, Shari,
Hi, sir.
and
Good
good
morning. Nice
morning.
to
Good
have you
morning to
back.
all of our viewers for today.
Ayan, sir, can we test your screen?
Yes, there you go.
Ayan. Sir, it's up. So I'll leave you to it. I'll give you 20 minutes and then I'll be back for Q&A.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Sherry. And again, very, very warm. Although, again, for those of you that are in Metro Manila, you may have been already noticing, a colder turn of the weather. And I hope that, in the Bicol region as well, looking at, some of the weather reports, I think it's also, very similar. And, very warm welcome to the faculty and staff and administration for Bicol University, and thank you so much for having me. So I guess first off, when we talk about the new normal, and it's been a term that's been used and overused over the past 2 years, but compared to last year, I think we're in a more positive outlook nowadays compared to the same time last year, wherein even though we were already beginning to have our vaccinations, infection rates were still high. And so when you think about the new normal environment and what the expectations are from an employer perspective, and that's what I'll be talking about in a couple of minutes. It's really also looking and a more positive outlook for everyone, both employers and also employees alike. And I'll start out with this particular slide. Could your career journey be as unique as you are? One of the things that has been a hallmark of this pandemic and the impact it has had on the employment scene, whether you're talking about academe, whether you're talking about corporate employment, whether even you're talking about government employment, it's been marked really by how individuals, employees, have been able to explore avenues that traditionally you wouldn't have thought of before. Traditionally people might have thought, I have to travel to Manila, I have to travel to Cebu, I have to travel to Iloilo, I have to travel to the major cities to be able to get significant employment. But with the pandemic, with a lot of these companies, even the previous speakers that you've heard from before, a lot of them have shifted and continue to revise and have those ongoing discussions. And so when we talk about EYGDS in particular, GDS, for those of you that are EY, for those of you that are familiar with, is one of the big four top accounting and professional services firms in the world. And EYGDS in particular, where we provide direct services for our external clients as well as other EY member firms. We're one of the largest groups within EY, comprising around 40,000 plus individuals. And of all of those site locations, Manila continues to be, one of the brightest spots. We hit a milestone just recently, just November, where we hit 4,000. And again, this is growing more than 1,400 people throughout this pandemic period. We've onboarded around 1,400 individuals alone. And good news is that it's from various locations. We've been onboarded and continue to have employees as far north as Ilocos region and even as far down south as Zamboanga or even Cebu. So with that, and when we take a look at EYGDS in particular, the type of services and the work that you can expect to and get into with EYGDS is really as varied and as in depth as you would foresee for yourself. And we'll talk more about why your own personal preference, what is it that you want for yourself, figures into a lot of these conversations about how the new normal is shaping up to be, right? Especially since we only have a couple of or actually just less than a month's time before we usher in a new year. Okay. So when you take a look at the different services, whether it's for tax, assurance, client technology, which again, are traditional, part and parcel of the services provided by EY, we actually here in GDS Philippines, and that's why, regardless of whether, and looking at the comments earlier, we have people from ABPS, agribusiness, we have people from forestry, right? Even if you're coming from these non-corporate type of courses, or you wouldn't normally associate them with professional services and accounting, which is the bread and butter of EY. We hope that you would also consider applying and exploring those avenues, because like what I said, this pandemic period really has opened up things that you wouldn't think na, oh, I'm in accounting, dapat accountancy lang. But we've seen time and time again, and even with EY employees here in the Philippines, that people have been brave enough to explore other lines of business, other lines of work, other than what they would normally or traditionally attach to the courses that they've taken. Right now, I guess to sum it up, and there are just three things that I'd like to share with everyone for today's session. Is first off, when you think about expectations of companies, of employees, you have to realize that first off, it's still an ongoing discussion. A lot of global companies, EY, Google, right, Citibank, HSBC, the organization I was part of prior to joining to EY, right, all of these companies still have ongoing discussions, right? And so when you think about what company to apply to, that might be a consideration that you have to take note of. And because it's an ongoing discussion, it's very important that from a personal perspective, you are clear about what are you looking for. Okay? Because more and more, like for example, EY in particular recognizes that what people are the most passionate about is usually what they're the most curious about as well, right? What people are most passionate about is what they're also wanting to learn more about. And that's something that again, from a personal perspective, if you're still in that exploration stage, I think this is a good time as any, as you're considering applying for these companies and to EY, as you're looking for do I stay here in Bicol, do I go to the traditional city center so that I can have a higher chance for employment. Again, being clear about what is it that you're looking for is very important, right? And then lastly, of course, is when you are clear and when and again, the answer doesn't have to be 100%, right? But at least if you know what are some of the basic things that you're looking for, then it will put you in a better position to add value. What is it that when you go to that interview, what is it that you can provide as added value to that company? Okay. And some of you may have already gotten very good tips on how to answer that type of questions, or more importantly, how to set your mindset. Paano mo ba tinitingnan yung mga bagay-bagay? Paano mo ipoposition yung previous experience mo? Because again, one of the things that I've learned from learning perspective is any experience is a valid type of experience. So even if you've not ever worked in a corporate setting, before, a lot of the experiences that you've had, like let's say for example, maybe you're active in your local community, you're part of a church group, you're part of a local community group that helps clean up the streets. The experiences that you bring up there are unique experiences that you can bring when you work for companies, when you apply for jobs. Okay, so let's go first off, what's the current situation. And EY, being a global organization, and we have overall globally around 312,000 employees and growing. That gives us, a wide range of information to get from, and gives us a very unique perspective in terms of how things are shaping up. And one of the most recent EY surveys, and this was taken over the course of, earlier of this year, and it was released September of 2021. So this survey actually covered 1,000 or more than 1,000 500 companies all in all globally. This is, from various locations like the Americas, North and Latin America. It covers regions like EMEA, Europe, Middle East, India, and also uh, Africa, right? And also our APAC region, where we find the Philippines. Now, one of the results and one of the more interesting things to come out of those surveys is really there's an ongoing discussion, and most of the things that employers and employees are talking about is really all about, you know what's our current status. Are we still waiting for things to normalize further before we make any long plans on what is going to happen? Are we going to do hybrid? Are we going to do 100% work from home? Are we going 100% work from office, right? There are companies that are in the planning stage, meaning they're now discussing, because there's a higher level of vaccination here in the Philippines. They're now in the planning stage. Okay, what's next? What do we do? Let's go ahead and ask the employees. And of course, for some companies who've been fortunate enough, and EY is one of um, those that have been able to operate all throughout this pandemic period, is some of them already have action plans in place. They've communicated them, and they continue to refine them. So again, there's a difference. For those companies that have action plans and communicated them, versus those that are still in the planning stage and still maybe having those discussions. And that another thing that comes up and is often discussed is flexibility. And again, flexibility can be in many shapes or forms. But most of the time, it's the employees like yourselves asking, can we work from home? Can we just have compressed work weeks or shorter work weeks? Can we have that choice between maybe going to the office 2 days a week and then 3 days at home, or other locations, right? And then the last one is, of course, talking about digital tools and platforms. And I think when you're looking to prepare yourself, diba, if you've not yet gotten a job, if you're still in the process of applying, use that time wisely. There's still a lot of online training, online learning programs that are actually available for free. It's really just up to you to invest some time, and putting in that time now when you have those interviews is really going to serve you in good stead. Right. So now let's take a look at some of the interesting facts around that discussion. So this is as of September, and if you notice here, there are some salient points, and I'll just take a look at those two major categories. There continues to be somewhat of a divide between how employers see themselves and how employees are giving feedback about it. What's an example? Culture and productivity. Companies are reporting that productivity of most jobs can be measured regardless of where the employees work, right? And then on the other side, you only have 67% that agree that can be measured irrespective of where they work. So again, there's that situation, and that can potentially change or impact how companies decide. Do we go 100% remote work? Do we go hybrid work? Do we do compressed work week? And all of these other options, right? Another thing here is talking about flexibility. Employers are saying, and this was only 56%, and this is already what, second year into the pandemic, right? Only 56% have implemented or communicated, this flexibility options. So what's the impact of employees, right? For employees in particular, when they look at all of these flexibility, they're saying, don't give us shorter work weeks, right? Because in most cases, and this is true outside of the Philippines, and I think we're very fortunate in that regard. In other countries, employment and compensation is based off of how many hours you work. Kaya nga, di ba, for them, they don't want shorter work weeks, right? In our case, for the Philippines, because most employment contracts are really based off of yung amount of time, di ba? And some condensed work weeks here work the way of, do 4 days lang, pero you work 10 hours of that day. So yun yung parang difference nun, right? But regardless, if you see the difference, right, and this is where it's very important, and when you look at the Philippines nowadays, and a lot of the employment, and even with the discussions we have with applicants and even existing EYGDS employees, there's really a lot of ask around that flexibility portion. And if you look at the market nowadays, diba, a lot of companies are talking about, what's that, war on talent. How do we get people to apply, and how do we get people to stay? Because again, a lot of the asks and a large part of it is around flexibility. And that's why when we take a look at what's the impact, those companies that are waiting, meaning they're still waiting to see, they're saying, oh, things are still evolving, there's a new variant coming out. We don't know how it's going to impact us. For them, the employees are saying, so far the culture is okay because they don't want to commit on something, and they've been transparent about discussing it. And so the productivity is also relatively high. And you can see it here, 70%, is are hopeful or are positive about creating or providing positive contributions. But companies that are just now talking about and having that active discussion, that's where again it takes a hit from a culture and also from a performance perspective, because employees are hesitant, diba? Oh, ngayon pa lang sila nagtatanong kung pwede bang mag-work from the office 100%. So there's a lot of ambiguity and a lot of maybe questions from employees, and that's where it's a potential danger zone. That's why when you're applying to companies, that's maybe one of the questions you can ask them, diba? What's the company plan for the future? Are you allowing for hybrid work, meaning sometime in office, sometime outside of office? Are you looking at compressed work weeks? Are you also looking at providing for remote working options? And in this regard, EYGDS in particular, I think we're already in that action already. In that, to this at this point in time, we still have 98% of our staff working remotely, and having hired people outside of Metro Manila, wherein in the Philippines to date, EYGDS only has one location, which is located in the Cyber Sigma building in McKinley West in Taguig in Metro Manila. But the fact that we're actively and we continue to seek out applicants in various regions in the Philippines is really already a big statement on our part. And even the most recent town hall that we had, where we announced that we will be reopening our offices shortly, right? Sometime in 2022. Um, it's not a statement of, oh, we need everyone to be in the office, because we've already committed a lot of time, a lot of resources, hiring people and getting equipment out to people in various regions across the Philippines. So that's where, again, you can use this as a reference to ask what are plans of these companies. And again, it's a very valid question. And I think a lot of companies nowadays, EYGDS included, is very keen to make solid plans, to have a clear line of communication, because oftentimes when people hear, ay nako, kailangan palang pumunta pa doon, or kailangan palang 100% in office. And again, maybe they have loved ones, maybe they have somebody who is of what do you call this, has those comorbidities that are of particular danger regardless of vaccination status, right? And so those are some of the things that, from a pandemic period perspective, people have become very acutely aware of. Mas sensitive na tayo, mas considerate na tayo. Before, it was, hindi, kasi I need to do this for work. But now the discussion is changing. And I think that's something that you can look forward to. And that's why, going to my second point and looking at being clear about what you want. Take a look at what development paths are available in the company. Is the development plan that they're giving will give you that chance to learn these much needed skills, whether it be like, let's say, for example, maybe, future plans, 10 years, 5 years, you're looking to build up your own business. Diba? Um, does the company allow you to pick up skills that can help you do that? Because again, when you look at your employment span, and this is true even before the pandemic period, right? Is dapat inisip mo, and you should be thinking about how each and every experience helps you towards your eventual goal. And that's why, another talk I also did for Jobs 180, and this time around for, a session for universities in Bulacan. One of the things that we brought up was, don't be afraid to explore, because as long as you're learning skills that you can apply in any industry or any company, then those are going to be valuable skills, valuable experiences to learn, right? Same thing in my case. I've been very fortunate enough to have a very wide and varied career. Right out of college, I actually did a year work of volunteer as a volunteer in Bulan, Sorsogon, right? And after that, I went into the academe. I did a stint as a college guidance counselor in Ateneo de Manila University. After which, I went into the corporate, right? First BPO with Sykes Asia, and then with HSBC, which was my longest stint, and then of course with the previous company prior to joining EY. And so going through NGO to academe to corporate, a lot of the things I've learned there still continue. I still continue to use and leverage today. Right? And another thing to be to be on the lookout for really is, companies with deeply rooted values make decisions. So if you see a company, if you're able to hear, and it's their value proposition, what they stand for, what they value, is something that's you also value. It's very similar to your own value set. I think that's a good sign for you to also explore more options with that company. In this case, EYGDS, our focus has been always on our people. And because EYGDS recognizes that people are always, diba, what we are the most passionate about is usually we are most interested in, what we're most invested in. And so when you think about that, and this is why an important thing to keep in mind is your mindset. Diba? And when you say mindset, this is around what is needed to be learned. And nowadays, and based off of that, survey again, and I'll reference back to it. 84% of employers do agree that digital tools is really the way forward and will help you, especially if you're familiar on these platforms. Learning about Microsoft Office 365, learning how to utilize MS Teams or any other platform that allows for virtual engagement or virtual teaming, right? If you've learned about cloud-based technology, great. That's going to help you position yourself, better when you do these interviews, because oftentimes a lot of larger companies, EY included, have been investing in those types of technologies, right? Now, when we talk about mindset, and this is what's very important to have as you're going through and as you're exploring, diba? Are you going to relocate to get a better job, or are you going to stick it out and look for job opportunities in Bicol? One of the things that and this is a challenge question I ask all of the individuals, whether it's EY employees or even graduates or near graduates like yourselves. What's more important? Is it more important to be dedicated, or is it more important to be creative? So let me go ahead and share a sample. So in this case, right, this is a product shot. So normally you think, oh, you have to have one. You have to have an expensive camera. You have to have the right lens. You have to have like expensive lighting, like what I have here set up. Although this is not expensive, right? Um, and then of course you have to have like even that fur backdrop, or you have to look for the right consistency, right quality, etc. Right? And again, all of that, being dedicated can pay off in the long run. Being dedicated, putting in time, putting in resources will pay off definitely. But there's also another route, and that's being creative. So would you believe me if this shot was actually done by this? And some of you who've been very active on social media may remember this meme from a couple of years back, right? So here you see this person, you have that same shot, but the person was being creative on how they're able to get the end product. And I think that's going to be very important when you think about how are you going to go forward, how are you going to adjust to the requirements of companies and even yourselves in this new normal environment. That being creative is going to serve you far more than being just dedicated. That's why being open, diba? I'm what do you call this? I'm BS entrepreneurship. So traditional is set up your own business. But again, maybe you can learn new skills and needed skills like project management, accounting, finances, right? Even in corporate environments like EYGDS. Okay? And so when we look at, and even with EY itself, right, we have a lot and a large variety of programs, right? And moreover, these programs that we have for EYGDS isn't just focused on letting you or getting people ready for the job. For example, right, we have courses that are about business development. So let's say, for example, for a tax professional in EYGDS, business development may not necessarily be needed, but here for EYGDS, and here you can see it on the left is our internal tool. This is our Udemy for Business that's offered and available for all EY employees for free. On the right side, you have the site for Udemy, which is their commercial website. Okay, so if you can see that same course in Udemy for external, right, external what do you call the stakers, it's available for 90 USD. So that's almost 5,000 pesos. But in EYGDS, that and almost 3,000 courses are available for free. Right? And again, it's not necessarily work related for tax, for accounting. What's another course? Digital marketing. We have over 1,000 courses available for all employees for free, right? Versus, that same course externally, if you take it on your own time and on your own cost, it's gonna cost you 90 USD, right? What's another thing? And again, live streaming. From a corporate perspective, we don't do a lot of live streaming like talks like this one, right? Um, but here we're making sure that it's available because again, these are what people are most passionate about. This is what people are most interested in. And lastly, and I think this is one of the highlights that we have is we've recently set up, and this is a global first for any global company. We've opened up a full-fledged postgraduate degree program for all EY employees. So it doesn't matter if you've been in EY for 5 years like myself, if you've been here for like 12, 15, 20, or you've just joined. Like yesterday, we onboarded or we're onboarding 157 new hires for Manila. And in that 157, we have people in Ilocos, and we have I think two or three people that were joining us from Zamboanga. Right? So these tech MBA programs, and we have two of them right now: EY Tech MBA and the EY Masters in Business Analytics. This is all available for all employees for free. So it's really, again, when you think about how and what companies to apply for, these are the things to watch out for. Has the company planned out what their response is? How is their work setup going to be? And when you now compare that to my second point, which is what is it do you want? Do you want to be close to family, to friends, which is again most likely people within the Bicol region, right? And if so, are you seeking employment then within that region? And again, when you take a look at all of these companies that you're hearing from on these platforms, it's important to take note that a lot of international companies, EY included, have now opened up these employment opportunities outside of Metro Manila. So it's always good to join these sessions, join these venues, right? And so my closing is, and really what's important is when you talk about getting and utilizing that flexibility to achieve your potential, definitely EY will be there to help support you. And more importantly is when you think, and this is to my third and last point, how do you look to provide added value to the company? And this is where we can see the very first point: how can you learn more in less time? It's really by utilizing any and all opportunity. Like what I said earlier, any experience can be a learning experience. So even if you're still applying, there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube about MS Teams. Ano ba yung features ng MS Teams? How can you use it? How can you upload the file and have other people access it? Right. So again, if you have access or you have software that you've been using for your virtual schooling for the past year, um, then most likely you have access to these free features or free programs from Microsoft as well. So make sure that you use this available time to prepare yourself. So that way, when you now enter a company, you're going to be focusing more on what specific systems, what standard operating procedures, right? And that's going to help you learn more in less time. And the second point, and I've been talking about it all throughout my presentation, is be flexible, be agile. Don't lock yourself into just one course of action, not thinking, oh, okay, I'm BS mathematics, so I'm going to into accounting, or I'm going into what do you call this, actuarial services, right? Again, what are some of the other careers that can utilize your expertise, right? You can be from let's say, for example, BS education. So again, does it have to be just within the private or public sector of education, or is there learning opportunities, like in the case of the team that I lead for GDS Philippines, which is talent development? All of the soft skills, anything that's not technical related, problem solving, English proficiency, business communication, all of that falls under corporate training, right? And then lastly is, what careers have you opened uh, to you and that are potentially worth considering or exploring, right? And so, with that, in closing, I think it's a very exciting time, not just for companies, but more importantly, employees as well. Because for EY, your ambition, diba, what you want to achieve for your family, for your friends, for yourself, is as bold as ours. And we hope that you're able to consider EY and actively, look at what are some of our openings in EY to help build your career, your story, right? And for example, some of the openings that we currently have from the assurance consulting space are the following, and of course from tax and for our core business services. And when we say core business services, these are the openings that we have for other functions, whether you're a web page developer or you've dabbled in web page development, you're a creatives, right? Those fall under our core business services. So we hope that you're able to join us. And of course, you have our partnership, our ongoing long-term partnership with Jobs 180. So we have the website. And if you want to learn more about EYGDS, what we're about, and what are some of the things that we're expanding into to the future, you can take a look at our website below, and which is also flashing on your screen today. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope everyone has a blessed holidays up ahead. And again, everything has been looking up for everyone, whether it's from a vaccination schedule, whether it's easement of restrictions. So we hope that you're able to make the most out of this time to really explore what your options are. So thank you so much, Sherry.
Thank you so much, Sir Dennis. So to our audience, we are now opening the floor for questions. So while you're thinking about your questions, lagay nyo lang sa comment section natin. I'll go first. And Sir, you discussed this a while ago, but I just want to ask this question again. Is it a bad thing if you pursue a position or an industry that's not directly related to your course? And will this be tagged as, kasi there's something that the Dole, they always put the tagging na, ay underemployed, Is this what you consider underemployed?
All right. So I guess, case in point, between, my last company and EY, I was actually unemployed for 6 months. Pero in that 6 months, I was very actively taking on courses, discussing, and being even active on social media platforms. So that's why when you talk about this, yung mga employment caps, it's really about how you're able to position it. Diba? That's why I said earlier, every opportunity, every experience can be a learning experience. So it's all about, for example, I mentioned it in yung mga previous talks. There's two types of skills you can learn. Non-transferable, meaning technical skills na dun lang sa kumpanya na yon applicable. And there are transferable skills, conflict management, team development, diba? How do you learn? Those things you can learn in a variety of situations. So kahit nasa bahay ka lang, nag-YouTube ka lang, pero yung YouTube mo, what's the difference between a leader and a manager? Makakatulong yun sa'yo when you present yourself, when you do these interviews.
Ayan. So that's why I'm asking kasi ang mga courses na nakita ko sa comment section nasa agriculture and forestry, and of course there are other industries ngayon na hindi sila as vibrant as before. So I wanted to ask if okay lang, 'di ba? Okay lang na yung mga courses nila ngayon, not necessarily yung mga skills nila, not necessarily ibig sabihin nun hindi nila maa-apply dun sa future nila. Kasi
All
nga,
right.
transferable yung skills. No?
So, for example, for agribusiness and for EYGDS, diba, one of the things that we've started to initiate internally is sustainability programs. Diba? So, when we're working with, a client of EY, maybe they're in the agribusiness. So, that's why I was saying earlier, even if they're in agribusiness, baka kasi meron kaming client for EY that's in the agricultural business that, again, that requires a certain amount of expertise from you. So that's why, again, wala namang mawawala sa'yo. And nowadays, because a lot of companies continue to do the interview and onboarding virtually, this is the best time to explore. Walang mawawala sa'yo, di ba?
Ayan, thank you for that, Sir Dennis. So, ito sir, itong question ko kanina ko lang naisip. Um, what lessons would you like to I don't know how to phrase this. What would something that you want to say to your fresh grad self if you know the things that you know now? What is something that you would like to share to your fresh grad self? 10
All
years,
right.
15 years ago maybe.
In my case, just two things. One is go ahead because after graduating from college, because I came from the Jesuit education system, so talaga na instill yung sense of responsibility na you need to give back to the community, to society that's given you so much in terms of like resources. Nakapag-aral ka sa Ateneo, right? And then the second one would be don't be afraid to make mistakes. And I think, in the learning space, as much as successes, diba, yung mga successful people, yung mga successful projects mo, speak a lot about your ability. How you deal with failure, how you deal with difficult circumstances can speak even more. And that's why even with the mga leaders that I've interacted with, yung mga pinaka-inspiring are yung mga leaders na hindi yung parating panalo sila, kundi yung mga nadapa, nagkaroon ng problema, but they were still able to overcome it and able to take lessons. So those are the two things. Diba? Go ahead, try everything out, and then second, yung nga, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Thank you for that, Sir Dennis. We needed, kinailangan naming marinig yun this morning. It's okay to make mistakes. Ayan. So, to our audience, are you sure you don't have questions? So, for more information for EYGDS, it's available at eygbl.referrals.selectminds.com, or you can also find it on jobsunit.com/EYGDS. It's flashed on your screen. So, you can explore vacancies and research the positions that you can get into once you're ready to apply for your first job or your entry level position. So, Sir Dennis, thank you again for joining us on behalf of
Thank you.
BU and Jobs 180. We look forward to more of your sessions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And happy holidays just in case that we don't see each other. And same
Thank
to
you,
everyone
sir.
as well.
Thank you, sir. All right. So thank you to the people that joined us, the speakers that joined us this morning from Probe and from EY, Sir Dennis. Thank you. So we have an evaluation link for this event. So we will be flashing it on our screen. So please don't forget to evaluate today. Ayan. So we would also like to mention our acknowledgements. So, habang nag-evaluate kayo, we'll also put the link sa comment section. No? Para pwede niyo siyang i-click. Ayan. So, we send our acknowledgements to Bicol University SUC President for Dr. Arnulfo Mascareñas, Attorney Joseph L. Bartolata, PhD, Bicol University VP for Admin and Finance, Dr. Amelia De Rosan, Bicol University VP for Academic Affairs, Dr. Baby Boy Benjamin D. Nebres III, Dean for the Office of Student Affairs and Services, Dr. Annalynda Marceliano, RGC, Director for Bicol University Student Welfare Services Division, and Ms. Rosario Frick, RGC, Bicol University Career and Placement Services Coordinator. Ayan. So, please don't forget to evaluate. So, nandun sa comment section yung ating link. Please copy and paste. And don't forget to finish it today. Ayan. So, we would also like to thank our sponsor, CEO Group, for being one of our corporate sponsors for this event. You may check them out. The CEO store in Lazada and in Shopee are the nearest mall in your area to shop for your corporate attire needs. So, for career opportunities, it's available at jobsweek.com/CEO Group. So to our audience, please watch out for the next set of webinars that we are hosting this week. So we have another one this afternoon and another one on Thursday and Friday. So please check out our Facebook page for the topics that will be discussed, and you're welcome to join in any of those sessions for free. So see you all and have a great afternoon. Stay safe. Happy holidays, guys.
The clinical trial market as we know it is about to change. We're revolutionizing the current state aligned to disparate, slow, and often manual processes. Optum's vision is to transform the drug development process to one that is centered and grounded in real-world patient behavior and physician practice. Optum's ability to access this unique network and fold in the strongest data and analytics expertise will enable us to jointly bring life-saving drugs to the patients who need it most. Join us in this partnership to bring our shared vision for real-time, real-world healthcare research for real patients.